In this forecast, another huge pattern change is coming to the United States that'll bring a cold blast and severe storms. And several areas may drop below 30 degrees this week. All of that and more is coming right up. A substantial pattern change is coming to the United States this week, which will bring colder weather and the potential for severe storms across a large area of the United States. Let's first talk about the cold air that will come from behind on this cold front, beginning with Wednesday. We'll begin to see some colder air ushering out of Canada. We'll see the warmer air and more humid air out in front of that cold front, which will bring that potential for some severe storms late Tuesday into Wednesday and maybe even Thursday as well. Eventually heading into Thursday, we'll begin to see more of this cold air usher into the Midwest. This is not nearly as bad as what we saw about a week ago with that other cold front that even brought some snow flurries to northern Wisconsin, the upper Michigan Peninsula. So good news there, but it will still bring noticeably cooler weather to those regions. Eventually heading to the weekend, we'll see cooler weather enter the Ohio Valley and New England area. And then going into next week, we will not talk about this too much, but there may be a very strong cold blast that could even bring areas down closer to the teens and maybe even single digits back up in North Dakota. So this will be an area to watch heading into potentially next weekend or early next week. We may see a big cold blast. More on that in our upcoming forecast. But going to what we're looking at in the jet stream heading into Wednesday, there will be a negatively tilted trough back up in Canada. Now, why is that important? Well, a negatively tilted trough typically brings more in terms of severe weather. So we'll have to be monitoring this very closely because a negatively tilted trough, again, can bring more severe weather, can bring a better tornado threat as well to areas that obviously do not want to see that. Looking at the severe weather potential going into Tuesday, there is officially a marginal threat for severe weather for the Midwest back through the Central Plains. This goes back into central Kansas and goes into southwestern Wisconsin. Main concerns will be damaging winds, isolated large hail, and I can't rule out a very isolated tornado threat. It seems like Wednesday and Thursday, though, will be our better chances for severe weather. As the Storm Prediction Center has already mentioned, we may get upgraded to slight risks on both of those days. So keep that in mind. We'll get to that here pretty soon. All right, taking a look at the timing. So beginning with Tuesday night, we'll begin to see some storm activity fire up back over in Minnesota. We'll also see some isolated storm activity back in areas in the Midwest closer to Illinois and western Michigan. Eventually going to the overnight hours, we'll have a defined line of storms. This could also bring the potential for at least a scattered threat of damaging winds. So we may get upgraded to a slight risk on this severe weather event day on Tuesday, but eventually going to Tuesday overnight into Wednesday morning, those storms start to go down to the south and east. And eventually getting into Wednesday afternoon, we may begin to see another line of storms develop. This likely will not be nearly as severe as what we'll see Tuesday, but it will definitely be something to watch there across areas like Michigan and back into the Ohio Valley. And eventually by Thursday, most of these areas dry out with isolated flurries or maybe an isolated sleet pellet or two back up there in the northern Midwest. And the severe weather event doesn't end there. It will continue through the Ohio Valley and even the Dixie Valley going into late Wednesday into Thursday with more scattered to numerous storm activity, which again, damaging winds being the main concern with any storms that become severe, but we also could see an isolated tornado threat. Eventually heading into Thursday, we'll see those storms move off to the east with that very strong cold front, very pronounced area of storms as well. Also looking at the southeast, there will be a potential for some showers and storms across Florida going into Wednesday and Thursday. So if you're anywhere in Florida or the southeast, you may see some storm activity increase after the dry past week that we've seen across those areas. Also, there is a potential for severe weather as far north and east as areas in the northeast. So areas in New England could see some severe weather potentially going into Thursday or Friday as that trough continues to move into areas in New England. We may see some severe storms, but if not, definitely a lot of rain is expected back up that direction as of now. But again, things may change, but it seems pretty likely that there'll be pretty decent storm activity up that direction. Also, temperatures behind this going into Friday morning are going to be pretty cold. We're talking 20s and even low 30s going into the morning hours on Friday. High temperatures for Friday are looking to be really different all across the United States. We're talking 50s and 60s back up in the Northeast, while areas like Texas are still battling the 80s. And then back out in the southwestern portions of the United States, closer to Arizona, may get close to 100 degrees. Also, we have officially had our landfall with Hurricane Julia. It is now weakening. It's moving off to the west. This will eventually go into the Pacific Ocean. It made landfall just north of Costa Rica, and it will eventually go into the Pacific Ocean. So the National Hurricane Center is forecasting that this will go into the Pacific Ocean as still a tropical storm, but eventually weaken into a tropical depression. No threat to the United States is expected with this system. Make sure to like the button down below and subscribe if you've not already. This forecast is brought to you by Platinum Contracting.